In April 1989, on a Friday, Dad came on campus at Victory Chapel Elementary School, where my brothers and I went to school to pick us up. At that time, I was in the third grade, Alvin was in the first grade, and Elton was in kindergarten. Sister Koo was unaware of our dad coming on campus. She eventually came to Daddy's apartment when she couldn't find us there. When she arrived, she talked with him concerning our well-being, ate some food, then asked him to bring us back on Sunday afternoon so she could get us ready for school. Their conversation seemed pleasant. My father lived in a one-bedroom apartment with his girlfriend, who was about the same age as my sister Ko. Daddy's girlfriend would stay with him in the bedroom, while my brothers and I would sleep in the sitting room on a mat. Early Saturday morning at the cockcrow, there came someone knocking at the door. The person at the door was knocking as hard as they could. Daddy woke up angry, disturbed from his sleep. He raced from his room. He pulled the door open. William, his nephew, was at the door. He paused, then interrogated, "What are you doing here disturbing me early this morning?" "Something terrible happened at the house." It seemed Cousin William had been running. I could hear the terror in his voice with a heavy breath. Something had happened. "Your daughter is seriously sick. We took her to the ELWA hospital last night, but the doctors refused to see her because we didn't have money. Right now, she's at the JFK hospital. She is in critical condition. I left Adolphus there with her. The doctors are working on her, but they need her parents." William didn't finish his words, and Daddy cut him off. "Her mother is in town. Go and look for her," he spoke bitterly. As I laid there on the mat with my ears attentive like a mouse, I wondered, how did he know Mother was in town and we did not know about it? Her only purpose in the city would be to tend to our well-being. So what was she doing somewhere else the entire weekend without coming to see us first? I couldn't believe those words coming out of my dad's mouth. He didn't even make the effort to follow William at the hospital. My heart was beating like a drum. My mind wandered. I was imagining the worst. Among my siblings, Sister Ko was my favorite. I couldn't wait to see her after school. I loved her so much. I wanted to go to the hospital myself. Hearing that she was seriously sick put my heart on the edge of a breakdown. I did not have much faith at that time. Though we all went to church all the time, I only went to church because she and Mother made us to. She was in the choir and other various evangelism ministries in the church. All I could do at the moment was hope she was all right. I never understood why my father made that decision. I knew he was upset with my sister. He thought she was siding with Mother. I had overheard an argument Sister Ko and Father was having that Friday afternoon before she got sick. He felt she was trying to seek his downfall, so he wanted nothing to do with her. He said that she and Mother continued to go to sorcerers to cause him to fall. William immediately went looking for Mother. About 3 hours later, she came to Daddy's apartment, wailing at the top of her lungs. Her voice was shaky and eyes looked furious, feeling so alone. All I could hear in her voice was anguish. Her fingers shaking uncontrollably, helplessly in the air as Daddy looked on regretfully. "If my daughter dies, you are going to die too. I will make sure you have a grave next to hers." Even though she looked alone and in fear, she appeared strong and confident, but her heart was broken. I could hear her heart screaming for help inside. Then she commanded that my brothers and I followed her. But I refused for the moment because I didn't want to leave my friends. But she demanded that my brothers Alvin and Elton follow her to Jerry McGill's sister's house. She left painfully, burdened with the thought of losing Sister Ko. Before she left, she said to my father, "Don't come near my daughter. I do not want to see you at the hospital. Even if my daughter dies, I do not want to see you at her funeral." She always defeated herself before she even began the battle. She got in the yellow taxi that brought her to the apartment and drove to the hospital. Dad's face turned dreadful. I could see the regret in his eyes. People in the apartment complex came to him and asked him to follow Mother no matter what. The next-door neighbor also tried to talk to him. She urged him to follow Mother to the hospital. From his expression, he already made that decision, but his heart felt so guilty that he felt hopeless. He put his coat on, took a taxi, and went to the JFK hospital. When he arrived, Sister Ko was later pronounced dead from an ectopic pregnancy. As little I overheard that she died due to the refusal of both Catholic and ELWA hospitals for her to have access to their services. Mother had just arrived from Bonga with our monthly supply of food and allowance, but did not see her daughter. Sister Ko had gone to get food from her friend for us, but didn't know Mother was in town with our supplies. Due to the tension between both parents, Mother will rather stay in a hotel or relatives' homes when she was in town to visit us. When Mother went to the house, Alvin, Elton, and me were at Father's house for the weekend. That was the start of our struggle. Several hours later, Mother came to Father's apartment in a taxi again, this time with Uncle Adolphus in the back. He had been fainting on and off. They stopped on the main road. She refused to enter the apartment complex. As she was weeping, she continued to cry over and over, saying, "Say, Zawolo, you are my enemy for life," as she calls my father. She sent Cousin William to get me, while Adolphus was in the back seat on an unconscious roller coaster. He had fainted several times on the way from the hospital. It was obvious that Sister Ko had passed as I approached the taxi. As I learned, Sister Ko collapsed in Adolphus's arms. From the sound of his voice, I could tell that he had been crying for hours. Mommy was screaming, yelling, and the tears running down her cheeks were without end. She cried that God didn't like her. This time, I didn't resist coming with her, because hearing her cry were like needles sticking into my heart. Filled with disbelief, I got into the back of the car. It was no longer playtime. We were now facing the worst crisis that our family had experienced so far. To take in the notion that my sister was a corpse now was something I couldn't comprehend. Jerry McGill, who was my mother's boyfriend at that time, drove us to his sister's house. We stayed there for the night. All night, my mother groaned and moaned. She couldn't sleep, neither did I. She wept till dawn, so did I. I was in shock. My little brothers, still young at that time, didn't know what was going on. I asked her to take us home, where we lived with our sister, because I wanted to see her picture at least. I wanted to make sure the death news was not a practical joke. But then the next morning, when I heard Mommy and the funeral director making arrangements for the casket and a place to hold the wake and funeral, I finally realized how real it was. Even though I heard them talking about the funeral, in my mind, I was imagining that she had run away, faked her death, and one day she would emerge from some parts of the world to surprise us. My father, who had taken care of Sister Ko since she was a baby, said Mother told him that he did not father Sister Ko, but one Matthew. Mom sought the counsel of a black magic priest immediately after Sister Ko's funeral. She was told that Sister Ko died as a result of voodoo, and Daddy was part of it. She had to protect my brothers, especially me, as they said. I was the main one that needed the protection because I was the heir to their properties. Unfortunately, through the years, the Christian churches had not proven themselves to be worthy to her. She began down another quest to get help. While she thought that she was helping, I now believe that she began to open doors for demonic spirits in the lives of my brothers and myself. The black magic priest told her that he foresaw another open grave behind our house, and she needed to act quickly. If she does not devise a plan to fight the witches, the second grave was going to be filled. She took us away from the house and put Alvin, Elton, and me in the care of the black magic priest. For weeks, we were under his care. He gave me honey to eat that whole week. I was feeling pain in my chest, almost like something crawling and biting pieces of my flesh inside. He said the thing that was in my chest was a caterpillar. The witches had put this caterpillar in my chest to eat up my heart, so I would die of a heart attack. He made me drink honey to weaken the caterpillar's power. This would divert its focus from my heart and settle it to a place in my chest where he could easily get it out, he said. Yet it was going to take several weeks before he would be able to get the caterpillar out. So I stayed under his care, and the honey became my food. I drank it every day, even though it was upsetting my stomach. Finally, surrounded by my mother, brothers, and friend of my mother's, using a razor blade, without any sedation or pain medication, he cut a small hole in my chest and took the caterpillar out. It's been over 32 years since that day, but I can still feel that pain from time to time. During this time, we were still in school. The priest told Mommy to withdraw us from school. me especially. This was devastating to me, to have to miss school because I was doing so well in my writing classes. I loved it when the teacher would show my work as an example for students. He would spank them if they didn't write like me. Nevertheless, the priest said, witches were looking for me. If I were to go to school, a car was going to kill me. So I did not go to school. I was withdrawn by my mother. One day, my schoolmates came from school and told me that a car at school hit a girl, but she did not die. The chief made me believe that the car was intended for me, not the little girl. Mommy withdrew us from school completely after she heard what happened. We remained under the care of the voodoo priest for several weeks until the caterpillar was taken out of my chest completely as I went through healing. Also, he claimed that our mother was the target, but she had someone in the witchcraft world fighting on her behalf. Since the witches could not conquer her, they targeted her children. That explained why they killed Sister Ko. He also said, the only way a witch could overcome a person is when the individual has a direct blood relative involved, meaning a sister, brother, mother, father, wife, or husband. So, he claimed that Dad and some of his relatives were involved in Sister's death, and I was next. The black magic priest said Daddy was after Mother's life, but he could not overpower her because someone in her family was fighting on her behalf. So the only way to get rid of her was to kill the children because it would make her helpless and vulnerable, and then he would overpower her. He also said there were hairy things tied around her waist to keep her in bondage and prevented her from excelling. He claimed that she should stay a few more weeks to set her free from this bondage. Then he was going to give her voodoo protection. Also, since I was the next target, she needed every strength and protection she could get, and he said she should get it because my days were numbered. We spent about 2 weeks under the black magic priest's care. Eventually, my mother chartered a taxi and secretly took us to Bonga, away from Daddy. Her faith in God was now diluted. Day and night, she mourned Sister Ko's death. She would say God did not like her. God brought her on the earth to suffer. She never slept at night. She felt helpless, vulnerable, and alone. She kept all of Sister Ko's clothes and pictures and never gave them to anybody. During this time, she lost her job, so she began to take care of us full time. Every morning before we went to school, she greased us with kana oil, which was made from nuts that look like little coconuts. She said the kana oil would drive the witches away from us. Also, the priest told her that Daddy would come after us wherever we go, but if he comes with evil intentions, the oil will scare him off. So, it was mandatory that we greased ourselves with the oil. The black magic priest had told Mother that there were witches sent after us, and they would not rest till they killed her or us. Her only reprieve would be if she gave up the properties. We spent a week hiding at her friend's house, the one who introduced her to the priest. The chief also instructed her to paint the house with kana oil to prevent Daddy and his uncle from coming there, and she did. As I learned, Daddy and his uncle did come to the house. His uncle was smart enough not to come close, but Daddy came close to the house. As usual, he liked to lean against the wall when he came to the house, so he did, and the neighbor reported to my mother that his hands caught on fire, and he started to run, so I heard. We were afflicted with all kinds of sicknesses. Elton, my baby brother, had a swelling in his neck. At 4 years old, the swelling was a threat to his life. With what I can only figure was by the help of God, he underwent surgery and got better. Alvin, my brother after me, had a swelling over his eyes and was successfully healed from the swelling. Suddenly, I began to develop a weak bladder. I underwent surgery myself. For several weeks, I used a medical tube to urinate through. The tube was taken out after I gained control over my bladder. Yet there were still other health problems my brothers and I endured, but God's will prevail.